Hey everybody, welcome to our YouTube channel. I'm Bobbi of East Coast Keto and
I'm Geoff
of East Coast Keto. Our topic today is going to be taking keto to work, but before we do, we're going to ask you to hit that subscribe button down below. If and when you do, we are going to notify you when we have a brand new video, and that way you can keep up on what we're talking about. So with that, let's talk keto.
All right. Since you work from home, you're taking keto to work is kind of a moot point because you're home.
So
it's easier.
Why don't you talk keto?
Okay, because I got to take it to work.
Okay.
For the days that I actually eat, normally on the weekend, Sunday night, we'll boil up maybe a dozen eggs or more and keep them in the fridge, peeled. Ready to go.
Usually put like 3 in a container, so they're already portioned out.
Yeah, depending on the size. I mean, if they're great big pterodactyl eggs, there's only 2, but normally 3. And keep them in the fridge. Night before work, I'll take them out and mash them up. Put in cold, and put in a tablespoon of salted butter for every egg. So if there's 2 eggs, there's 2 tablespoons. If there's 3, there's 3 tablespoons. A good grind of pink Himalayan salt. Stick it back in the fridge, and
so you don't mix the butter in at that point. You just leave the butter on top.
Leave the butter on top, because fast forward to the next
day,
morning, when I'm feeling peckish and want to have
you're
some
at work
breakfast.
already.
I'm at work. I take my container and bring it out. Open the top. Take the butter out and lay it on top of the container, the top, and then microwave the eggs for, it depends on the microwave, but anywhere from 45 seconds to a minute. You don't want to overdo it because you're going to overcook them. But essentially, heat the eggs, put the butter back in, mix it up. The heat from the eggs is going to melt the butter, and stir up the salt, and
you can eat it at your desk.
Bring it back to my desk, and
there you go. So that's your first suggestion. What else do you have?
That's my first course.
What else do you have for breakfast?
I'll also take bacon, and normally 4 or 5 pieces, which we pre-cook our bacon ahead of time. We'll do a couple times a week. We'll do a bacon cook. I love bacon day, because we'll do on average around 4 pounds of bacon in a cook. We do it in the oven. And we'll do a separate video on how to do that, because once you nail that technique, you will never, ever, ever fry bacon again.
Never, ever, ever.
Even cold, it just melts in your mouth. It's
like butter.
Yeah.
So bacon is your next thing that you usually take to work.
Yes. Goes well with the eggs. The bacon and the eggs.
And it's a great desk food. You don't have to warm it up. Like when you. What this guy does, and is the cutest little thing, is he takes it out of his cooler bag when he gets to work, and he lays it in front of his computer right next to where the warm air comes out. So it kind of gently warms up your bacon, but it doesn't make it like hot.
Yeah.
Perfect solution, like brilliant.
It basically just softens up the fat.
Exactly.
That is still left on the meat. It's perfect.
What else do you take to work?
So that's pretty much my staple for breakfast.
Now sometimes you do
switch it up with some fat bombs,
yeah.
Bacon and egg, cheese bites, which we have a recipe on our website for that.
Well, no, we have a recipe coming in
the book. But basically, it's get a mini muffin pan, bacon and eggs, and cheese,
peppers, mushrooms,
whatever you want, mushrooms. Bake them in the oven. They pop in your mouth. Bacon and egg and cheese.
Yep.
Bites.
Little bites.
Okay.
Yep.
It's good.
So those are things that are good for breakfast. What about for lunch?
Lunch is easy. One of my favorites is an unwich. If I rewind back to my pre-keto days, I would quite often go and get a sandwich. Eat at my desk like this.
Hand to mouth.
Hand to mouth. You don't need to do that. Once you get your mind past the whole physical, grab it with both hands to feed your food hole, you don't need to do that. I will take a can of flakes of chicken or ham or tuna.
Make sure it's not the chunks because the chunks have starches in there. Okay, check the ingredients for each one. Make sure what you're getting is clean.
And just in a little Ziploc container, smash it up with some full fat mayo, not Miracle Whip.
Preferably homemade.
And
or mustard or whatever. You can cut up some little pickles to go in there to give it a little bit of crunch.
If you like the crunch.
Totally. You can put little bits of bacon in there.
Yeah. There's no end. It doesn't have to be a sandwich. If you're the type that, oh my God, I gotta hold it in my hand to put it in my mouth, take some lettuce leaves, plunk it on the lettuce, but use a spoon.
The whole hand-to-mouth thing really only became a thing back in around the 50s when the drive-ins and the takeouts and the fast food became popular. Before that, it was unheard of to use your hands to eat food. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying you can't eat food with your hands, but if you step outside of that and realize that the food tastes the exact same way if you use a fork to eat it up versus picking it up with your hands,
the bread that it's sitting on has no taste.
Has no taste.
So you're just cutting out the carbs and the middleman, the bread is just a carrier.
Yeah.
Or a wrap or whatever.
Yeah, so there's your unwich, and you can pretty much use any kind of, you can do egg salad, you can do deli meats if you have a source for clean deli meats. You can do lettuce and tomato, you can do whatever, just chop it up in the bowl versus, going like that.
Today, my lunch today, no, I didn't do an unwich today. Today I had some cheese, because I got this ready last night when we had our charcuterie last night. It was just some cured deli meat, some salami, and a couple of different types of cheese. That was my lunch.
So that's some other suggestions. What else can you suggest for lunch?
Fat bombs. There's deli meats, deviled eggs. Leftovers.
And before you move on, deviled eggs, you know what? You don't have, I know we're used to having deviled eggs and having the mayonnaise and the salt and pepper and a little bit of paprika. Man, you can do anything with those. You can put jalapenos on there. You can put Italian seasoning on them and you can make them, Italian flavored and there's so many different flavor combinations that you can take that one basic ingredient and turn it into like a dozen different meals. Put Indian spices on there and give it an Indian flair. So, and leftovers. One of the things that we do often is when we make a meal, whether it's a meatloaf or
braised beef or
we always do extra and put some aside and one of the things that we'll always do, especially with chilies and soups and stews and stuff like that is we'll make a double or a triple batch and we'll freeze it up not only into family size containers but also into some little individual servings. So this guy can go downstairs the night before and he can pull out a buttered chicken, or he can pull out a chili or a mousse bourguignon, or all of these really cool foods that we've already made, and he can bring it into work and presto changeo, he's got an amazing lunch that he's just got to pop in the microwave.
And yet people at work in the lunchroom at the counter stirring it up after taking it out of the microwave and
good sniffs.
So it's diet food, you wouldn't like it.
So if you don't have a microwave at work, I know we go to a lot of events that we don't have access to a microwave. Why don't you tell them how we deal with that?
Easy solution. Walmart or any major store. Get yourself a 2-compartment lunch bag. One on the top where you can put a cooler pack in.
The main one, the biggest.
The cool stuff. And down in the bottom, warm. Heat it up before you leave the house. Stick it in there. It's going to stay warm.
Well, we usually take the extra step of wrapping it up in a little tea towel or something, just to give it that little bit of extra insulation, especially to keep it insulated between the top and the bottom layer.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing because we can heat something up before we go, and 3 or 4 hours later we'll take it out and it's still warm. Now, it's not piping hot. But at the end of the day, if you're out somewhere and you're out in the middle of nowhere...
It's not caught over.
It's not caught over. So is that it? Is that all your suggestions you got for...
bacon, cheese, meats.
Bacon. Anyway, that's our suggestions for how to take your keto to work. And outside of that, if you are going to be looking at stuff that you're going to purchase or grab from your buddies or whatever, make sure you're checking all the labels. You'll hear me say it time and time again, make sure you check the labels. You're looking for hidden sugars and starches and chemicals and things that you can't pronounce. Stay away from all those guys, because keto is not only about carbs, it is about clean ingredients first.
Salad sometimes too.
A salad sometimes too, yes. There you go, especially Caesar salads.
Yes.
There you go. And with that, I think we're done for this topic. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we will see you next time when we talk keto. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, folks.